Hi, this is Madeline Colcole, Tuesday, November 19th. This is the lab video for Microscopy. Um, this lab was pretty neat. I've used microscopes in the past, both as a child in school as well as with my little kid set when I was probably 8 or 9 years old. Um, Way back when I started college initially, gosh, 12 years, 7, 8, 9 years ago. Um, I took some classes and I ended up doing some cheek swabs too and looking at that. But I didn't remember exactly, what we did, how I did it. Time passes, and at the time I was a young 17-year-old and I did not take things as seriously. So I got my degree in something else and now I'm going back for nursing. But basically, this lab was really cool because I got to really see, not just the obvious mechanisms of the microscope, but how to, I guess, not just those obvious mechanisms, but to better understand what each part does, as well as what the actual use of it and getting better at using it. The first few times I was looking at the different samples, I was kind of struggling. Um, it sounds silly, but I'm a very impatient person. So as I'm looking at it and I'm using the course magnifier and I'm scrolling with it, I'm like, I missed it, and go back, missed it, go back, and then getting better with the finer focus as well. When I get up to the higher magnification, I particularly struggled just because of my own impatience. So the more that I did it, I found my sweet spot and how slowly, or how very, I guess, just smallly how smaller of turns I would have to make in order to get that fine focus so I could take a good image as well as see what I needed to see with the microscope. Um, the oil immersion was kind of a struggle for me. Maybe it's my eyelashes getting in the way, or maybe I just wasn't quite doing it right. But I had a hard time focusing with the oil immersion, and I almost felt like I was seeing bubbles instead of, a smaller, flattened slide of the specimen. Um, Other than that, one of the things that I'd never done before was actually the oil immersion. Um, and getting it, like I said, getting it in focus was kind of a difficult thing. Taking the pictures was challenging, but as you can see, not this lab, but the lab afterwards, I was able to get more pictures. Actually, never thought about taking pictures like that. Um, with the slides that I did see, and then later looked at my own yeast sample that we cultured versus the prepared yeast sample, it was interesting to see the difference. Obviously the yeast sample that the kit came with was professionally cultured. Obviously, they're doing this as a sample, so it needs to look correct and needs to look per standard of what yeast would typically look like. Um, but seeing the different uh, slide samples that were provided was interesting. So it kind of primed me for the following lab so that I was able to kind of say, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be seeing. Is that potentially a speck of dust? When I did the wet mount slides, I was like, is this a air bubble? And then I got better at looking at, or got better at trying to figure out what I'm looking at and then identifying the bacteria that was there. But that also could have been due to my own wet mount slides being not fantastic. Um, but like I said, I got better with that, and then practice makes perfect on it. The slides that we looked at, the spirillum, as well as the yeast. Actually, I think they all were. They all appeared to be already stained. So even though I did this lab first, afterwards I was starting to think about, oh, okay, I wonder how these are stained, and maybe I could analyze and figure out whether the samples were gram negative or gram positive. I mean, you could always Google and see what it is, but it was interesting for me to kind of think about that and say, oh, I can use my knowledge from the lab that was conducted afterwards to kind of apply it to a real world scenario. Overall, this lab was great. I'm really enjoying this class. I think I said that in the last video as well. I just need to get my work to stop scheduling me ridiculous hours. So we will see you next week with on-time assignments and less exhausted Madeleines. All right.